So technically, I guess if we require proof of vaccine, I guess on some technical level, things will be a little bit safer, but we have to ask at what cost? Are not civil liberties and freedoms of conscience and to decide one's own choice when it comes to vaccine, are those not important enough to be risking maybe a little bit to preserve these fundamental rights? And is it not worthwhile to risk a little bit to preserve the rights of people to keep their status private?
I believe that the policy itself doesn't stand to reason. It's not reasonable, meaning it's not sensible and fair, and it doesn't really make sense. And I guess, for example, at the height of the pandemic, we were running calls when fewer of us had vaccines, and we had PPE, we had different things that we put in place to mitigate the risk, and we were still serving the public, and the township didn't object. Now, fast forward, the vaccination rates are now higher at large, and now somehow it's too dangerous for us or the public. So that doesn't really make sense.
Isn't it incredible how fast the world changes these days? Indeed, just last month, during the 20th anniversary of 9/11, first responders in New York City and the world over, for that matter, were being justifiably hailed as heroes. After all, on that horrific September day in 2001, it was the firefighters and the police officers who ran into the Twin Towers as regular citizens fled out of them. And of course, many of those first responders paid the ultimate price, and we must never forget their sacrifice. And yet, just look how the climate has changed in just 1 month pertaining to first responders. Now these same people who were being hailed as heroic mere weeks ago are now being ordered to either get the COVID-19 jabs or say goodbye to their jobs. Wow. Talk about what have you done for me lately? And my guest now is Peter Van Oort, who was a firefighter with the Puslinch Fire and Rescue Services in the Township of Puslinch, Ontario. Peter chose not to reveal his vaccination status to the township, and the end result is that this firefighter was fired. Peter, thank you so much for joining me. How are you doing out there?
I'm well, David. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty of your case, Peter, I understand that the deadline set by the township for revealing one's vax status was October 22nd, but you were dismissed on October the 15th. What's the deal with that?
Yeah, you're right, David. We received an email on October 6th saying that we had to reveal our vaccination status by October 22nd. On September 22nd, I wrote a detailed email to the township raising a number of concerns I had. I got a perfunctory response and then nothing until the October 6th email. On October 14th, I made a video outlining some of my concerns about the policy and just wanted to spell out my reasons for those concerns and my reasons as to why I believe that it's none of the township's business what my vaccine status is, that we should be entitled to a freedom of conscience. And I believe it was that video that they used as the reason to end my job.
So sorry, folks. We can't continue to show you the rest of the interview on YouTube. If you can, please take the off-ramp from YouTube, go to Rumble, go to SuperU, go to Odyssey, and of course, go to rebelnews.com and see the rest of the interview uncensored.